in the room. Come on in the room. Bucks win it tonight. Preseason action 117-111. It doesn't count, but I'll take it. I'll take it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are live. Scream City crossover. Groove Travis III.
JT.
Chris King.
Justin.
I forgot. See, it's always preseason because I forgot to say Doc Rivers is our doctor. Right side all he gives us our medicine in our room. And we're gonna do that one more time. So we are now live as the Cream City crossover. Groove Travis III.
JT.
Justin.
Chris King.
There we go. So nice. We had to do it twice. 117-111. Bucks beat the Detroit Pistons. Got everybody in the building. I feel good. Got the Brewers on down 3-0 right now. Bottom of the fifth. Oh man, I know. Justin give us an update at the end of this. When he gets to him, he's going to have something to say about Pat Murphy or something going on with these Brewers. But right now, it is all about the Milwaukee Bucks. Appreciate you, Season 3 of the Cream City crossover right here, and we're glad that you are joining us. My Twitter, I don't know if you know this, my Twitter is no longer around. I'm working on an appeal. I got locked up. It won't let me
Free
out.
the guru. Free the
Oh,
guru.
yeah.
You in Twitter jail for real?
Twitter jail for real. So, I guess you can. I mean, there's the CCC Bucks show. If you want to put a tweet in there, but I know it's not as many followers on that account. But if you want to put a tweet in there on the Twitter, even though we're not streaming on the Twitter because don't have a X. What I gotta have, Chris? Premium subscription. It's a mess. But we are
verified. You got to pay for that check. That's what it is.
There we go. Got to pay for that check. Elon's stealing money. But we are on YouTube, so get at us in the chat. We'll talk to the chat tonight as well. But yeah, come on in the room. Let's do a quick game recap tonight from a preseason win for the Milwaukee Bucks. If you look at the Milwaukee side of things, it was your boy, Derrick Bird. Extended him 22 points tonight, 3 boards, 3 assists. 5 of 5 made field goals tonight. He was 5 of 5 from 3. Just couldn't stop it. 7 of 7 from the line. He was a +8 tonight. How about Bobby Portis gets a start with no Giannis? 11 points, 2 boards. Miles Turner, 4 points, 1 block. Was 1 for 1 tonight in just 15 minutes of action. Gary Trent Jr. was active, 9 points, 3 assists. Kevin Porter Jr. was active, 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He was also 4-4 from the field. So your starters missed a grand total of 3 shots out of the shots they took. So that was a good night. Cole Anthony, newcomer to the squad, shot 37%. I thought he was very active tonight, 9.7 boards, 5 assists. I don't know how many. He did have 3 turnovers, but Cole Anthony was pretty active. Coffee was out there. Amir Coffee, 3 points, 2 rebounds. Torian Prince, 9 points. Jericho Sims, who's been having a rough preseason, 5 rebounds tonight. Ryan Riles with 7 points. Gary Harris, 5 points. Booyah, 2 points. Andre Jackson had 4. And Chris Livers had 9 points. I thought the Nasses looked good, as well as Mark Sears at the end. You look at the Detroit side of things. Thompson with 11 and 5. Cade Cunningham was absolutely he was just balling for the entire the first half that he played. 26, 6 and 6. Ron Holland with 7 points. I won't get through everybody else that played for the Detroit Pistons. But this one did get down to the end. The Bucks and I think that's what you wanted to see. It was a tale of 2 halves. It was, to me, the Detroit Pistons with Cade Cunningham looked every bit like a superstar. Did Cade Cunningham, and the Bucks didn't really have anything. They couldn't stop him at all. And then the second half, he wasn't there. The Bucks obviously looked like a team that didn't have Giannis. But again, I thought you had some good contributions from. I thought Cole Anthony looked good. Let me say this, I thought he was active tonight. And he has some things that I think are going to be good for this basketball team. Gary Trent did what he did. Kevin Porter Jr. to me looks like an everyday starter. And again, AJ Green, it looks like Doc Rivers has penciled him into that starting role as the starting small forward for this basketball team. And yeah, we'll just see how everything plays out. I thought it got a little stagnant in the with those bench lineups. But again, it's the preseason. No Giannis, no Kuzma. At least we ain't got to talk about Kuzma tonight. No Kuz, no Giannis. And again, and I thought I'll just say this: I'd rather win them than lose them. So again, a really good job for the Milwaukee Bucks closing this thing out 117-111. We'll have a lot to talk about: Giannis, rumors, all that. But from this game, that's what I saw. JT, what did you see?
Man, you know what I saw? The same thing you saw, sir. First off, let's talk about the 50-50 club. I know it is the preseason. Trey, you mentioned this earlier, but let's talk about that 50-50, man. Look, the Bucks team shot 50 from the field, 50 from the three-point line. That's not going to happen very often, but I'll take it in a preseason game. Shows you coming out, shows you trying to compete. You're right about Derek Bird. I thought he could. There was at one point he just could not miss. He was absolutely spectacular. But all your starters from three were above 50%. Again, never, highly unlikely that happens again. Kate Cunningham was just on a tear. He was. Kate Cunningham was in midseason, and I thought he was balling tonight as well. Can't knock it. Just one of those things you kind of accept because again, it is a preseason game. Not to get too nitpicky because there wasn't any one player that had too many, but we did have a lot of turnovers tonight. Again, it's preseason, lost turnover battle. Okay, not going to worry about that too much. I think 17 is a tad high, but again, it wasn't like you had one guy having 8 or 9. I think most folks were having, it was just 2 to 3, just some careless errors there. Again, it's preseason for everybody. Man, and I'm just going to say this because I got to say this, but as a Bucks fan and someone who watches these games, it was a bit nostalgic. You saw the Nasty was back, man. The Nasties was out there and was getting it done, man. Had to block, had to duck, call a little oop. I said, you know what? Those are what you call the Bucks vibes. Where there's different things that I think true Bucks fans, there's different vibes they appreciate. One, when Bobby Portis gets going and he got the headband and he out there getting hyped. Two, I think the Nasties, like when the Nasties is in, not when we need him to do something, just when he in the game and he does something, I think people get hype over that too, man. So definitely like to see that. Justin, you good? What y'all watching?
I got my microphone muted, dog. Yeah,
oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay, I didn't know. Let me check. I'm
watching the Brewers at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Let me check the group text. I was like, oh man, did I miss something? Nah, you good. Go ahead though, man. Over to you. Chris King.
Well, before you guys go, I do want to recognize Super Chat, NYC Randy, our guy. Appreciate the Super Chat as always. He said, the boys are back. How you feeling? I don't know what happens this year, but I do like what I see. More energy in a preseason game than we had during the playoff games. I think we're one move away, fellas. NYC, I think it's a good take. There was a lot of energy, especially for a preseason game. Tons of energy. Now you guys take the floor, but appreciate the Super Chat. Appreciate the comment.
Oh, absolutely. There was a lot of energy out there, and you saw like what they've reinforced this offseason is what we've all been asking for multiple years now is get younger, get more athletic, and they've got way more depth at the wing. That was apparent to me when it came to the second half and how the Bucks were able to kind of claw back. That was certainly apparent when you talk about guys like Gary Harris even getting out there playing some good minutes for you in the second half. Cole Anthony, obviously he's not a wing, but just the bench depth there. He did it from all facets of the game too. Like, so you really have somebody that can really play that backup point guard. A little too much dribbling, a little too fancy, but I still think he got it done in the stat sheets and being able to get to the rim and being able to find AJ Green. So yeah, they have a surplus now of wings, and that begs the question on what are you going to do with guys like Andre Jackson, who to me today, yes, he hit the three, but to me, I really haven't seen much offensive improvement from last year, from the year before that. Like, what we wanted him to do is actually build some sort of offensive game in terms of penetrating to the rack and getting to the rim. And it's just the same kind of things, getting the ball and then facing, back to the basket and trying to find somebody to dribble handoff to. And like those are some of the things now that are going to, ask questions about these guys like Taurean Prince. Again, I didn't think he had a great night tonight. It's like, okay, now are we more comfortable putting Gary Harris, Gary Trent, obviously Derek Bird, like those kind of guys, are we going to be able to weed out of the rotation, maybe weed off of the squad, right? So these are all things that I saw. Outside of that, I mean, not really too much to put into this one. or the preseason at all, but I do love just the surplus of athletes, the surplus of wings, and obviously, we talk about the starting lineup, KPJ, phenomenal. So we want to keep that going.
I think with AJ Green, man, just not missing a shot tonight is insane. It just shows you what his shooting capability can hold. And I think that you're starting to see some of the reason why Doc may have him in his starting lineup. And if he can get hot, and obviously he's not going to shoot 100% from the field every single night like everyone else has alluded to, but the fact that he can provide a spark in that starting offense so you're not playing from behind at the end of a first quarter, end of a second quarter, I think if he shoots a ball like this or close to like this, he can take over an entire quarter, which is kind of what you need, and we've been lacking that. My best moment tonight wasn't anything on the X's and O's. It was Gary Trent Jr. on his interview during the game. I thought he was absolutely hilarious. Just a good energy, and I think we've been lacking that. And maybe it has to do with the nasty back on the floor. I don't know, but I'm excited about what this season has coming up for it. Like you gentlemen mentioned, we have plenty of wings. We have plenty of hustle. We have everything that we've been begging for the last 2 to 3 years. Seems like we have it now. So hopefully Doc will push the right buttons and we cannot be behind.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what you're looking for. Staying in the chat here, Daniel Berry Sports High says happy Thursday. Hello to you. Biggest Shaq says Bucks top 3 seed. We'll see. D'Angelo Ross says once we cleaned it up, they were hooping. And Lag says we could have used Kuz on Cade tonight. Absolutely, you could have used somebody. You needed a bigger body on Cade because he was absolutely cooking the Bucks tonight. But again, that's it for the preseason. I won't behold you too long on everything preseason. It goes on. What's up, JT? You have something?
No, that bigger body on Cade.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like, here we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna let myself slide, but no, I'm that's what I'm saying. We just needed somebody else because those guys couldn't hold him. They couldn't contain him. Cade looked like he is in midseason form right now, and Detroit is going to be a really good basketball team, really tough team with him leading the way. But I think again, we'll move past that as the preseason conversation. But and the game, good win. But I think everybody still has to talk about, and I know me and Justin, we talked about it a bit a couple of days ago, the news with Shams and Giannis. And then the newest part of that is we've now had Doc Rivers come out and basically refute some of those reports from Shams that, about the New York Knicks and calling and everything. And then we've had Giannis come out and made himself available to the media. Was that yesterday or the day before? And Giannis – again, I don't know what to make of what he said. I mean, he says to me, what I took from Giannis's presser was, I mean, he said he had 6-7 months. And again, knowing Giannis, I don't know if he was trying to make I know Chris, you teach 6-7. I don't put me on UNC status because I don't know. I know they be doing that kind of stuff. I have no clue what it means, but I don't know if he was doing that or if he was truly saying I will reevaluate because 6 to 7 months is essentially, if you're not in the championship, when the season will end. And, will he evaluate from that point? So to me, what I took from it was Giannis is locked in for the rest of this year. But that's all that's guaranteed is this year for Giannis being a Milwaukee Buck. I know there's some questions about whether, and again, Shams is talking about Shams, but I won't get into it right now. But Shams is pushed it out and is, saying, maybe around the deadline. I don't see that. I just don't see Giannis as a guy who's going to ask out in the middle of the year. Like Shams is almost making it as if they're watching every single game, and if they aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's going to be a problem for if they're under 500 by the deadline. Giannis might ask. Like, I just don't think that's how this is going to go. And I also say I don't think the Bucks have to are beholden to any timeline that Giannis wants either. But that's the newest news that's come out. Giannis has made his comments. Doc Rivers has made his comments. And I'll say this. It seems, again, because the way I'm taking it is Giannis has recommitted himself for at least the season in Milwaukee. And I think you and other people, we've talked about it where we're like, hey, we want Giannis to make a statement. Giannis can nip this in the bud. He can say something. Well, he did say something. And matter of fact, I remember one of his statements was you can write the headline, Giannis is committed to Milwaukee. He said, he's literally said that. Do you think that's going to end the conversation? I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is no. So again, I guess I know there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, Giannis got to say something, got to talk, he's got to nip in the butt. It does not matter what he says. This conversation is not going to end because there are people in places at four-letter networks that are pushing for one certain thing to happen, and they want him out of Milwaukee. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't, but they're not going to stop. They've been doing this since 2019. It's not going to stop anytime soon.
So I think the thing is this, that you're right. They've been cooking this narrative for the longest time, and he comes out and he's dispelled this narrative too. I don't think anybody expects him to spend his entire career in Milwaukee. I just think that generally speaking, back players in general do not spend entire careers in one spot. Yes, this was a thing of the past, but I think now highly unlikely that you're going to see that. I think they're at some point. But, what I don't understand is why it seems like ESPN is, you said four-letter network. I just, it's 10 o'clock. I'm just going to keep this thing above. I don't understand why ESPN continues to try to force this like they have some sort of breaking news or some sort of secret information when it's clear that Giannis does not have, at least at that network, it doesn't seem like he has a guy. It doesn't seem like he has a journalist that he talks to, leaks anything to or not. It doesn't seem like that. So I just cannot figure this out. Who are they trying to do the favor for to say, oh, Giannis could be available, Giannis could be available? Because they're not getting – all they're doing is looking at the team's record and they're looking at the last 3 years. But they don't seem to have any more information beyond that. They don't even say sources close to Giannis are saying this. I don't get it. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think at this point, if this is a bad year, yeah, I think there's a lot of changes that would probably be made, right? That would be the fourth straight year where things have not gone to plan and you've seen absolutely no improvement. Yeah, I would expect you're probably turning over the whole roster at that point. But I'll say this. There's no way that Giannis does not bring a historic haul to Milwaukee if there is a trade. And I don't think that anybody's going to do that, like you said, Trey, in the middle of the season. I think if you're going to trade for Giannis, it's going to be at the end of the season, probably sometime before the draft or wherever, and you're going to have to figure out what your offer is. But that's not even something I think we need to get into at this point, right? Like you can't. Let's talk a little bit more about what Charles Barkley said, where this team has done and made moves and done a lot of different things for Giannis to try to accommodate him, including this offseason. So I think the fair thing is to let that play out. Let the moves play out before you start coming up with narratives.
Yeah, certainly to me. I mean, I would be devastated and really, honestly, quite disappointed in Giannis if he asks out at the deadline, regardless of the situation. Because this is a guy, again, you talked about the Charles Barkley video, and I saw that too, JT, where he's saying that the Bucks have basically catered to Giannis's needs. We've said that here on our podcast with some of the inside information that we were able to obtain with obviously the Adrian Griffin firing and certain things around that whole thing and the Dame situation, all that stuff, right? So we know that Giannis has kind of been able to dictate some of these things at least, or the Bucks have wanted to cater to his needs, right? And I just don't get, what I don't get is the report that comes out that says, oh, if they exit in the first round again. Like, the thing is, dude, 3 out of 3 years we've been out of the first round. You've been a part of the reason we've lost in the first round for a couple of those. And you think back to the Miami series. Yes, I understand he got hurt. Yes, I understand Dame got hurt in the Indiana series, which was last year. But at the end of the day, like, you have to be available. Like, best ability is availability. And for some of these games in these pivotal series, you aren't there. So that's why I think if he asks out at the deadline, I would probably turn a side eye at him for doing so. But when it comes to obviously the way that this team is moving, the direction that this team is moving with the youthfulness, I wouldn't be surprised if it does happen, if this team does flame out, because at the end of the day, we're just, yeah, if this team flames out, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he asks out. Because I just think that, you have the youthfulness, and maybe Giannis wants to further cement his legacy in a different place. And I could blame him for it, for jumping ship and going against his own values and saying that, he's so loyal to the city of Milwaukee. But there's a part of me that understands the level of trying to be great in this league of up against the top 10 guys, the top 15 guys, the top 5 guys. And so I think that would probably propel him to eventually try to make that move. But if you do it mid-season, I don't respect it at all.
Well, so wait a minute, right? Did we get confirmation? Is his family gone? Is his family in Greece?
My understanding is that is true.
If his family's gone, that to me is a bit of okay, wait a minute, right? Because Giannis is a big family guy. If your family don't live here, I would, in the back of my mind, think you probably would be amenable to a move. You certainly would be amenable to a move, because as far as the roots in the community with family ties and everything else, those are gone if his family has moved across the pond and he lives in Greece. But my whole point behind this is that the Bucks made a lot of moves this offseason to get better in a lot of areas. And by coming out and say, oh, he could be looking for a trade, but you're not even giving the team a chance to play. You're not even giving anybody a chance for this thing to come together. You've already basically, if you're ESPN, you've written off this team, basically saying this team is cooked. And I don't really, I don't understand that based on the moves that we've seen.
I understand where ESPN is coming from when they look at it. Because again, you look at this roster, and again, I get that it is younger, it is more athletic, it is all things that we talked about. But if you are ESPN, if you are national report, if you are of the national ilk and you're looking at this roster, you ain't got no Dame, you ain't got no prime Chris Middleton, you ain't got no prime Drew Holiday. You are relying on Kevin Porter Jr., who we ain't seen doing. I like Kevin Porter Jr. You ain't seen Kevin Porter Jr. be a main factor for a long season and into the playoffs and doing things. You haven't seen him do that in ever. You're relying on Gary Trent Jr. You're relying on AJ Green, who the Bucks haven't even extended him. You're relying on Miles Turner, who is the 4th option in like those are the guys you're relying. And don't get me started on your bench. And you're relying on Ryan Rollins. You're relying on a lot of Cole Anthony. You're relying on a lot of guys who, I'm just saying, from the conventional standards, as if you're looking at it from that standpoint, no, I don't think that roster is that good. It's Giannis holding together a bunch of bums. That's what you're saying if you're looking at this roster from the outside looking in.
But here's my thing, right? Because I think you have to look at a roster, look at the talent on a roster, but you know what you also have to analyze? The competition. The East there are question marks everywhere in the East this year. Every single place.
And we're one of them. And we're one of them.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you, Trey. I'm saying that, yes, but there are question marks. Every single squad in the East that's considered playoff has significant question marks at this point. And so against that backdrop, this thing is wide open. It's not like we're like, oh my God, the East is stacked. Everybody else is here. No, you got injuries. You got a bunch of things. Trades made, a lot of different moves that have been made to where nobody can really call where the East is. Who is the favorite in the East this year? Like, it's not there. And so, yes, I can agree with you. You've got some unproven. You've got some question marks here, right? But I'm not ready to call the roster flawed. I'm not ready to say, oh my God, this Bucks roster can't compete. That's crazy.
So I've been arguing for, last 7-8 years, Giannis is the best player in the NBA. He is him. So if you're him, like, dog, you got to shut up and stop all this BS and take these guys over the hump. LeBron took a lot like them Indianapolis boys. You front running. If you want to go, I got to get my legacy straight. I want to get out of Milwaukee because they've done everything for you. Why was Drew Holiday here? Because of you. Why was Damian Lillard here? Because of you. Hell, Cameron and Mace made fun of us on their podcast. Why? Because your goddamn brother was here and no one else wanted him. Yo, your family is here because of what the owners did for you. Hey, man. I don't know how much loyal you can get than what Milwaukee's been to him. So if he wants to go off to New York, go off there. You think Eric Name and them boys get at your family and do all that stuff? You go to LA. You go to Golden State. San Francisco's a big media market. Go to Chicago. Go somewhere else. See how they treat you. See how they treat Mariah. He said that he allegedly went. God damn it. Only thing pissing me off more than Giannis is Pat Murphy, yo. Like, this is just.
Serving its purpose right now. So that tequila serving its purpose right now. Go on.
Oh yeah, I just saw what you saw. Yeah, that might be a wrap tonight. I'm a little behind you. That might be a wrap. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I ain't got nothing else, dog.
Well, okay, I'll jump back in. I thought that I guess what I'll say, and hey Tish, how's it going? What I'll say in response to that, I totally get what you're saying. Again, he has been here for what? This is year 13. He's going to year 13 with the Milwaukee Bucks. That is an eternity. I think there are plenty of guys who would have left long before. I agree with what you're saying, Chris. When you say he's been three or four of those years, he's been injured. He hasn't been available in the playoffs. So he is one of the main culprits and responsible for why the Milwaukee Bucks have not advanced to where you want them to, or where they could be. And he has to own some of that. And I agree completely that the Bucks have done everything that they could do to try to appease him and put together a roster that suits his needs. But again, he's got to make it happen this year. And again, if he doesn't, he doesn't. I think if we get to the East Conference Finals, I think Giannis stays. If it's a first round exit, I think there is, to your point, JT, with wife and kids across, in Greece, no longer having those roots and those ties to the area and the community, it makes it very easy to go to New York, LA, wherever. It makes it very easy to go do that because you're basically a mercenary now. It ain't like you got tied. You are just, hey, whoever's highest bidder, where I want to go and play. But I do think for the Milwaukee Bucks, you have Giannis under control for the next 2 years. You don't have to just ship them off New York if that's not what if they're not getting John Horst, Wes Edens, those guys have a responsibility to do whatever is best for the organization. And that's not just sending him to the New York Knicks if that's where he wants to go. That's not how this is going to go. And I do think Giannis understands a little bit of this, man. I don't think he's going to ask out the deadline. But again, I wouldn't be upset if it goes down like that and he's not here at the end of the year. I get it. I totally get it. But I am with you. I don't think this roster's cooked at all. I do think there are question marks on this roster, just like there are around the Eastern Conference. Are